Hi everyone, it's Emily here. So I just wanted to do a quick video for people that have expressed an interest in modelling my designs, and some of you don't have much modelling experience. I don't want to let that stop people from getting involved. I really like the fact that the opportunities I've been given now give me the opportunity to include people who are just learning. And I want to build a bit of a way that we can train up models as well, so they can start their career and also, like, say, model with me or with other people in the future. So it's a good place to start. I see an opening for it. There's not much going on in Ireland really, as you've probably noticed. It's obviously big abroad, but I think that leaves a great potential here for training up some really good models, and I see talent everywhere, and I definitely believe that the fashion and the model world is changing. It's not the way it used to be, where there was size and age requirements and everything had to be specific. I think anyone can model, to be honest with you, if you have the right attitude, and I think just the faith or the will to do it. Like confidence and everything else can be built and worked on. Not everyone who starts modelling starts out with confidence. Sometimes we have to push ourselves through doing things we don't like just to become good at them. Like even myself, doing designer walks, like for example I'm in New York or Paris, and the designer walks the runway at the end of the show. Now obviously I don't have to do it, and like even one of the reasons that I love making fashion is because it can go on the models, and the models can look fabulous and get their hair and makeup done and all, and I don't have to. So I can just wear whatever I want and just do the designer walk at the end, and everyone gets to look fabulous in the designs, but I can just be myself, do you know, that way. So it was easier for me to be a designer, you know. But in saying that, I had to teach myself how to walk on the runway as well, because I did, like, the designer walk is still a thing, and it's not something I was naturally born with either. And I don't like being the centre of attention, you know. Like, I do like the designs going out and the art of the designs being the centre of attention. So I had to overcome that apprehension myself. But I tell you one thing, like, it's like going on a roller coaster or something, which I really hated the idea of for years as well. But the minute you do it, you just want to get back up there and do it again, because it's some buzz, and like, you know, this is not the reason I made the designs or anything. You know, I like to just express myself creatively, but I like to have an outlet for me creative ideas. But it's definitely very cool to get on a runway or get in a photo shoot and, you know, look brilliant, feel brilliant. It's definitely a big confidence boost, and it can help you, like, if you've anything else going on in your life, it can actually help you overcome other things that are going on by giving you a bit of a boost in believing in yourself and believing that you can push through things that you didn't think you could do before. You know, and you're looking at photos going, here's the proof that I can do things I never thought I could do, you know. So I welcome you on the journey with me and with us, with Emily Artwear, and I'm just going to give a few pointers. Like, I'm not exactly an expert, but I'm an expert in my area of the field, in that I know what I want on my runways, in my photo shoots. I know my designs in and out. So, and I have been on the biggest runways in the world now, so I've had quite an insight into the fashion industry and model industry in the last 4 or 5 years. So I would start off saying, if you're completely new, like, there's 2 categories I'm going to deal with. Like, one is runway and one is photo shoots, and they both entail slightly different things. So, like, some of you might have agreed to do a photo shoot with me, and some of you might have agreed to do a runway. But I'll approach both, because essentially it's good to know how to do both. So for photo shoots, let's start with photo shoots. If you're totally new to photo shoots, simple things I'd say to you is, this all sounds very cheesy, and it's going to feel pure cheesy when you start doing it as well. Like, you're going to be like, oh, this is cringy, you know, when you start. But for starters, what I'd say to you, like, is go into YouTube, start YouTube, and pointers for models, like just like model what's the word, tutorials, photography tutorials for models. So like, you'll get pointers on what to do before a photo shoot or how to practice. For me, a successful model, because sometimes I have photographers, sometimes I take my own photographs, like I'm the photographer. So if I'm in a photo shoot with a model, the things that helps the photo shoot run smoothly, and what I love, is if the person has initiative, like if they're able to make their own decisions, and say if we're walking around town, they see something and they're like, oh, this looks good, or will I sit here, or you know, if they can sort of look around and make use of the area that they're in, like whether that's a photography studio. There's a certain amount of modelling where you're just standing here, you're doing one pose, you're doing the next pose, like but with streetwear, a lot of the time we're going to be out and about in real life, and to interact with your environment confidently is quite important. So just like, I'd say to you, like the next time you're walking down the street, like maybe just start noticing things a little bit differently. Go like, there's a lamppost, like this, that, the other. You're noticing things and you're going, how can my body interact with the things and the environment around me to make a good photograph setting, you know? So that if it comes to doing a photo shoot, you're not lost for ideas. You've sort of been practicing in your head, going, okay, I'm not afraid to interact with what's around me. I suppose the basic part of it is getting a few poses together. So like, it's important to look in the mirror for a start, which is something you could have been doing all your life, or maybe you don't. I rarely look in the mirror, to be honest, myself. But when you start thinking about doing photo shoots or being a model, you can look in the mirror and you can start realising what your best angles are. You might already notice if you have a social media page, like, and you'd sort of be like, oh, I don't look great from this angle, but I look better from this angle. Or if I hold my head up or down, like a lot of people like the jawline and stuff like that. Like say if you look down, you're going to be better than looking up. Like I've little things that, like little tricks, like I have these bags under my eyes, but I hide them really nicely with my glasses, do you know what I mean? Like, so we all have these little tricks, and I know that like my chin sticks out if I look a certain way. So I know what way to look to make my chin look good, do you know what I mean? Like, so it's funny the things you develop that basically by just looking in a mirror and moving around a bit, you know which ways to hold yourself that make the best of your best features, let's say. You know, I do love people's natural look. Like, I'm not asking people to hide any like supposed flaws they have, because I personally think our scars and our flaws make us beautiful. So, but what I am saying is, like, even you know yourself, if you're taking a selfie or something, like there's certain angles you look better at than others, and it helps the photographer if you know what to do with your face and your body when you're in a photo shoot to get the best out of what the photographer is doing and the way you look. Like if you practice a bit of that in a mirror before you go to a photo shoot, that rules out the photographer having to ask or tell you what to do. Now, personally, for my photo shoots, I'm more than happy, and especially if I know yous are new models, I'm more than happy to work with yous and ask or direct yous in what to do for the first few shoots till you get your confidence. And it always works out really well. I've had so many girls and fellas work with me, and they weren't, like, they were nervous at the start or whatever, which is obviously natural and something I personally don't mind at all. I used to be nervous myself. I completely understand the ins and outs of it. But I'm more than happy to work through all that with people. But it does help me or the photographer if you do your little bit at home first and find your best angles, find what looks good. And then next thing is to remember, like arrange and remember a couple of different poses that you know you can move around. When the person starts photo shooting and they take one photo, you want to be able to move into a new position. So there's different things you can do with your arms and your legs. And again, that means, like, whether it's in Google Images or whether it's on YouTube in videos, it means doing your research and like basically looking at different poses that models do, and then like standing in front of the mirror and doing them. Like for street style, there's specific poses. So my designs are street style. So like they'd be more casual sort of styles, like anything from this sort of thing, like, and like, you know, somewhere like even sitting the way I'm sitting, like leaning down, like if you're sitting on stairs you can put your two legs down on the stairs, and then obviously all the standing up poses. But it's just for you to have in your mind a series of poses, like maybe start with 3 or 5 or work up to having 10 poses that you have in your head that you know you look good, so that when there's a camera or a photographer in front of you and they take one photo and then they're ready to take the next photo, you're going to have to move in a different way and pose in a different way. So I think the most important and possibly the only thing I can say to you for photo shoots is learn some poses, because that's essentially what it boils down to. When there's a camera in front of you, a photo shoot normally lasts like 1 to 3 hours. What I was told, which is good advice, is the first hour feels like a warm-up. You start taking photos, you don't expect any of them to be good for the first hour or half hour. Like, you start taking them because you're there to take photos. Somewhere in the middle, you start getting all these deadly shots when the nerves wear off and before you get too tired. You start really getting into it and your adrenaline is going and you're like, oh, this is deadly. Like, you know, you're not feeling like, oh, all the apprehension is gone out the window. In those 20, 40 minutes or an hour, you get really cool shots. And then the last hour is a wind down, or you're starting to get tired. You can still get some very good shots in the last hour, but generally people are starting to feel tired. So there's a little window of opportunity there. And you could spend hours in hair and makeup and getting the designs on and the photographer setting up the studio. Essentially, there is a 20 to 40 minute window in the middle of all of that whole day that you're going to get optimum performance and success. And everything is working up to that. You know, everything is for that. And if you know that and you know what to do in those moments, when you start feeling like it's coming to the peak optimum performance time, then you're going to get some really amazing photographs. Now, no matter what happens, you'll still always get 10 to 20 good photographs from every photo shoot. But it's the model that makes the clothes come alive. Like, without you, my clothes are just sitting in my studio on a hanger. So you're very important to me. You're very important to the photographer. You're very important to the whole process. Secondly, your personality is most important, because your personality is what makes you you. It's what makes you unique. It's what makes you different from every other model out there. It's what makes me want to work with you. So the same way as people want to model my clothes all over the world because my personality went into them, and all my years of experience and all my years of inspiration and looking at things and doing art went into making those clothes. In a similar way, all the things that went into making you through your life experiences is what you're going to bring to the table. So even if you've had a terrible life, or if you've had experiences that you don't like or you haven't gotten over yet, if you can turn up with your full self and the full potential of who you are or who you can be, you can make for an amazing model just through being yourself and having your own personality. So people don't realise, like, you know, even when I got into fashion and all, like, I thought the fashion industry was very shallow, and there is a side of it that's like that. However, I feel with the right intention we can really pull the best out of the work we do, no matter what the work is. So there is a very good opportunity there for models to really make a name or a face for themselves by nurturing what they really are and becoming the best version of themselves. So I just want people to know that when they're starting out, because there's no point in starting something and doing it like half-arsed, you know, like half doing something. I feel like if you're going into something, you give it your best shot, and like if you don't succeed, that's no problem, but you're not going into something to just, you know, go, oh, maybe it'll be okay, I don't really care if it is or not. If you're going into something, give it your best shot, you know. So anyway, yeah, if you're going to a photo shoot, like, just, I'd say, like, bring, like, so I try to provide a bit of food and snacks and stuff at my photo shoots, but, like, be sure to have some water and, like, maybe a little piece of fruit and a snack or something in your bag, because your energy will go down, like, and sometimes you can be waiting for the shoot to start, and you can be all, like, glammed up and everything, but by the time it starts, your energy can start going down. So just have a few things in your handbag that, you know, you can keep your energy up, and you know that you'll be at, like, you know, optimum enthusiasm and energy for it. Just a bit of self-care, basically, like, bring the things you need with you, so that you're not leaving yourself, like, you don't get there and you're like, oh god, I'm starving now, but I don't want to stay on, you know, that way, like. So I'll just say a quick little bit about runway shows. That's probably not everything. I will do more videos. I do want to make this a little series eventually, but it's a good start for photo shoots. I'll just say a few things about runways. It's very similar, but walking is a little bit different, obviously, than just posing for photo shoots. So when you're getting ready to do a runway, you have to practice your walk, obviously. So it's good, I don't know if you have like a ring light, or if you don't, just set up your phone on something and set it up at the end of a hallway or outside if there's nowhere indoors that you can do it, and start practicing your walk. Like, stand here, walk up to the camera, do 3 poses and walk back to the end of the hall. So that's considered a runway walk. So sometimes, like, catwalks are set up differently. Sometimes you'll come out and you'll have to stand at the back of the runway for a while, like maybe the model before you will be walking up and down, and you'll have to stand here while they do, and then you do your walk. So have a pose. Basically, you need to think of about 5 poses that you think you look really good in, you know. And the classic one is just the hand on hips, but like a lot of the big shows in New York now tell models they're not allowed to just have their hands on their hips, because it's such a classic pose that it's a bit overdone. Personally, I don't mind what you do. Like, I don't mind if you have your hand on your hips, or that once it looks good. Do you know what I mean? But there is so much more creativity you can put into it. Like, you can Google street style poses, for me in particular, and like there's all sorts of stuff. Like, there's all sorts of different ways you can look. There's one where you turn, and this is particularly good for some of my designs as well, because a lot of my designs have artwork on the back of the jacket. So if you end up getting a jacket from me with artwork on the back, if you can turn your back to the camera and, like, say, look over your shoulder like that, so that the photographer behind you will get the back of the jacket, but they'll also get your face. Because if it's just the back of the jacket with the back of someone's hair, it's not really a photo that anyone wants to look at. Like, the model's personality and face is very important in every photo. So, like, you can stand in front of a mirror and practice, like, looking back over your shoulder in such a way that it looks decent, and you can still see a bit of your face. Like, and you even to think about things down to, like, where your hair will be, because if my hair is on that side, you won't see me face, but if my hair is on this side and I look around, the photographer will see me face, you know. So it's just little dynamics, because essentially, like what I said about the photo shoot, you have 20 to 40 minutes to make a photo shoot look good in most cases, and you have a lot more leeway because the photographer will get maybe 100 shots and you'll use 10 to 20 to 50 of them or whatever. For a runway, you have like less than a minute. Like, and this is like, models fly from all over the world just to go to New York to have 50 seconds on a runway. And everything that day and everything that month nearly is leading up to them 50 seconds. So what you want to do is prepare them 50 seconds. Like, you need to know every step of those 50 seconds. You know, because essentially what you're doing is you will get some other photos during that day or whatever in the design, but your best photos are the 3 photos at the top of the runway. So you practice your walk and you practice your 3 poses at the top of the runway, so that like it's nearly like muscle memory, you know, when you do something so often that it just comes naturally. You know, like when we were learning graffiti years ago, like if you're doing a tag, you practice the tag so many times that if you're running around at night, you just go like that and you don't even have to look at your hand. Your hand knows what it's writing. So your catwalk should be like that. And that means you cut out any chance of making mistakes or anything. Like if you're nervous about like falling or making mistakes or any of these things, sometimes a model will come to me or someone is talking to me about catwalking or whatever, possibly doing runway, and I'll say to them, oh, you're welcome to walk for me if you want. If the first thing out of their mouth is, oh, I'll probably fall, you're not walking for me. And like, I don't have many conditions, but self-belief is a very important condition for me. Now, I'm not saying that if someone, the first time I ask them and they say, oh, I'll fall, if they change their mind on that and they work on believing they won't fall, then they can walk for me. But if you're going to believe you're going to fall, then you're going to fall, you know. And personally, I don't think there's nothing wrong with falling, you know. If you get up and have a laugh and make a joke out of it, I don't care. I personally don't care what happens on the runway, once everyone has some fun and once everyone is okay. But I'm just telling you about how strong your beliefs are in manifesting what actually happens. So if you're the type of person that believes you completely can't do it, you're better off waiting and practicing for a long time and not doing it yet, you know, or sitting down and changing your beliefs into believing you can do it, and then starting to work on the physical aspect of doing it, you know. If you believe you can do it, that's the prerequisite to it all going well, you know. And you just picture the best. Like I was walking in, where was it, Chicago, in big heels this size, and I haven't worn heels since I was about 15, you know, and I was just like concentrating on every step, but inside my head I was having so much fun. I was just like, this is gas, like there's thousands of people watching me here and I'm in Chicago. Do you know what I mean? I was just like, this is the maddest thing ever. And in me, like I was excited, I was just like having fun in my head. And that's what you want to be doing. You want to either be going in your head when you're on the runway, you either want to be going, I am the business, like I'm really cool, and I look excellent, and I have this, you know. Or else you just want to be going, it doesn't really matter, this is not important, I'm just here to enjoy myself. Like they're the two mentalities that I normally go into things with, you know. Sometimes the more seriously you take things, the more pressure we put on ourselves, and then you can see pressure. Like this is supposed to be streetwear, it's supposed to be fun, it's supposed to be cool, it's supposed to be relaxed and comfortable. And if you genuinely feel them things, that'll show on a runway. Do you know what I mean? So for runway walks, I would say to practice your walk as many times as you can, and not just one day. Like practice it each day. Like take 4 minutes or 5 minutes out of every day and just do that walk until you're an expert at it, you know. Get creative with your poses. Think of 5 poses that you think no one else is going to have. And I say 5 because you might have 1 at the back of the runway, 3 at the front, and then another 1 at the back again. And I know I have different shows coming up, but at the moment I'm just talking about doing a show in Belfast. So for example, say if we get to Belfast, I might make a formation, like I might take the models early in the day and go, we're going to do this on the catwalk and you're going to go out first and blah 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 blah. So you want to be ready to, like on the day, take some instruction as to where you're going to be standing. Because if you go out and you get a blank mind, or you take a step, like, you know, you stand somewhere you shouldn't, you weren't meant to be or something, that can mess it up for the next model and everyone else as well. Do you know what I mean? So it's not like, it's a teamwork thing. So you're standing where you're standing for the sake of teamwork and for everything going smoothly. And there's nothing as cool looking as a runway where we make a little formation and everyone walks a certain way and it looks amazing and everyone gets everything on point. That looks really cool. Like I say, I don't mind mess ups. I don't mind. I'm not attached to outcomes with things. I'm one of the few designers that everyone in the world that meets me says, oh, Emily, you're the most easygoing and blah blah blah. It's because I'm not in this business for the same reason as everyone else is. You know, everyone else wants to succeed and be the best in the world and take over everything. Personally, I'm just showing up to have fun and to live life, and I want to give other people the opportunity to be the best version of themselves. So actually this, like me making a video, getting new models involved, getting people to come out of their comfort zone, getting people's confidence up, that's more important to me than someone putting a step wrong on a runway, you know. And perhaps if you know that from the start, then it'll give you the space to be brilliant on the runway, you know, because I'm not putting pressure on people. It is fun at the end of the day. But we're also there to make something look really cool, and when the music comes on and everything else, like, there's nothing like the buzz and making a really good show, you know, and I love being involved in it. That's not all the runway pointers that I have, but for now that's what I'm going to leave you with, because off the top of my head I can't really think of more. I just wanted to make a little video to get people preparing for the upcoming photo shoots and for the runway. So that's that for now. I'll check back in with you all again soon. I hope that helps in some ways. If you have any questions at all, please comment under the video and I'll answer things. And if you're going to take it seriously, if you have any photos or videos of you practicing that you want to send me, like if you want to actually take this seriously, if you're hoping to go, some people are just going to do it for fun and they just do one show or shoot with me and that's all they ever want to do, that's fine. If you're hoping to get a serious career out of it, I will help you get into wherever you need to get into in the world if you want to practice and take it seriously. If I can in any way, like with the contacts and stuff that I have or the opportunities I have. So if you're that on that sort of level, then if you want to send me any videos or anything and say to me like, is this correct or is there anything I can improve? I'm a very visual person. If you send me photos of things, that really helps, or if you send me videos of things, that really helps me just go yeah or no. I'm just like, yeah, that's perfect, or no. And because I've done so many runways all over the world now, I can pick out potential, and I can pick out like where we can make improvements within a couple of seconds of looking at something. So I don't mind working with you in that respect and helping you to improve whatever you are doing. So thanks very much for being interested in walking or photo shooting with me, and yeah, I'll see you all soon.